Hello, everybody. Cubism's back. I'm Aaron.
Drew.
We're talking about part 2 of Ravnica Allegiance. Last week, part 1, we talked about, first impressions, the mechanics in the set, the good and the Simic, and I think 10 cards at the time, leaving some out because we were talking about eventually. It's kind of a good thing we did because we ended up getting the full set shortly after, which we kind of expected, but the rest of the set.
Not a lot of hits. A lot of okay, like medium minus cards.
A lot of not playable Simic cards, which is as is tradition. So before we get into it, we want to thank the Mana Base, your home base for all things Magic Gathering. The wonderful sponsor that lets us bring you this every month and a half, maybe. Sometimes very often, sometimes not at all. So I probably average out maybe a month and a half. So anyway, make sure to check them out. And I guess start us off with Biogenic Ooze. So 3 green, 2/2 Ooze. When Biogenic Ooze enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green Ooze creature token. At the beginning of your upkeep, in your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each Ooze you control, and then 1 green, create a 2/2 Ooze creature token.
It's like saying ooze too much.
Wizards of the Coast gives us these mythic hydras and oozes every other set with hit and miss. It's kind of like the sphinxes and the phoenixes and so on,
angels and demons and the dragons.
Yeah, but the past couple phoenixes, they've been really good. Arclight Phoenix, Rekindling Phoenix, So we're just waiting for a big home run ooze creature.
Scavenging.
Scavenging was pretty good. Not mythic though, so it doesn't count. What do you think of Biogenic Ooze?
As a 5-drop, there's room to grow.
If 5 is not super deep, it has the key players of Thragtusk, Acidic Slime, Drainage Hermit, and then it's kind of pick your
mix and match.
Path.
I like Gearhulk a lot.
Yeah, there's Vertus Gearhulk. I like Whisperwood Elemental a lot too.
I do play Whisperwood Elemental.
So there are a lot of different choices. You can play additional Acidic Slime, Indrik Slump Howler, Conclave Naturalists, and I'm sure some we're forgetting, but Biogenic Ooze. I guess it tries to be this army in a can, maybe. I know some people talk about replacing Vertus Gearhulk with it. I like Vertus Gearhulk just because it's it's big on it's good on curve.
4-power haste.
Yeah, it essentially gives 4 power with a haste. The creature is kind of like Rishkar, also has some amount of haste and utility built in itself. Both cards play a lot better than their face value, and for just the kind of unique thing that Vertus Gearhulk does. I'm not really looking to replace that at the moment, but Biogenic Ooze is an interesting card. I think the best part about this card is just the fact that 4 mana make it 2/2, but I think I'd rather play Ant Queen. It's like Ant Queen's the 5 mana 5/5.
I think a few people are going to be angry about that card.
Well, it's just like 1 and a green, make a 1/1. Like it was like it used to destroy limited. That's what I was trying to get at, and I'm sure that would translate well enough to Cube. It's not an exciting body, but if you untap with it, because if you don't untap with this Ooze, yeah, sure, they kill the main body, you have 2/2 still, but the upside, it kind of has to hang around, kind of like Master of the Wild Hunt. Master of the Wild Hunt isn't good on turn 4, the turn you play it. It isn't really good the turn after that. It grows exponentially in power, and this card does that too, but for the first turn or two, it's not good. It's actively slow. 4 mana make it 2/2 is fine. It's something to spend your mana on. But again, let's just say it's an Ant Queen. If I untap with Ant Queen, I can take a lot of guys.
Yeah. I think it competes with not Gearhulk.
Whisperwood?
Whisperwood for me. And I like it more because it gives you Wrath Protection and it can block the turn it comes out.
Yes.
Being a 4/4.
Whisperwood attacks and blocks a little better. Is immediately more impactful because of its sacrifice ability. Also, again, gets better and better as the game goes on. But just the fact that it's a 5 mana 4/4 that has this upside of sacrificing to not regenerate your team, but to save a team, has more immediate upside than this Ooze. And again, Ooze is an interesting card, but I think it's just a little tad too slow. And again, even though we're not drowning in 5-drops, I think the card's a little bit miss. I like this guy's art a lot. Domri Chaosbringer is exactly what I'd be worried about. I guess based off Domri Raid. So Domri Chaosbringer is 2 red-green, 5 starting loyalty, +1, add red or green If that mana is spent on a creature spell, it gains Riot. -3, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creatures from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order, or in a random order. And then -8, you get an emblem at the beginning of each end step. Create a 4/4 green beast creature with trample. So
joining a long line of red, green, 4
drops.
casting cost planeswalkers.
Yeah, so this card's kind of the double. I was gonna say double-edged sword, but it's not. It's both things that I was worried about that happened. It is a 4-drop in a guild that has infinity 4-drops, and then it's a card that, just like Domri Raid, doesn't translate the greatest of cube. It's this card's like very built for constructed, just to make its -3 more consistent, right? Because the 3-mana Domri Raid was a great card in standard. But when you can't play the high number of creature spells, you can't guarantee the high number of creature spells. Domri Chaosbringer, like if it draws you 2, it's like a home. Obviously, it's a home run, but this card will most likely draw you. Hopefully at least 1.
Yeah, it should draw you 1 because you're playing green and red, unless you're like randomly very heavy on the burn spells.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'm looking for this type of card myself. Like I think I'm happy with this set with my Gruul package entirely as it is. So.
Yeah. I think this card is just more Xenagos. And Xenagos might be one of the most boring planeswalkers of all time. But that card's just consistent. It's good. That's fine.
It does the same thing every game.
It does. And that's great.
And you know exactly what
Domri, unfortunately, the Riot part of this card is really cool. But everything else, I think, falls a little flat.
The Riot part's the most powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion. So.
But I think, again, Domri a little bit missed. I try to play 3-mana Domri every now and then. Just because all of that card's modes are good. Plus, if you hit a guy, even half the time it's good, and it's never half the time. The fight ability is a good effect in that in the blue and red green deck too.
It's kind of a rare effect too. We don't get playable fight cards that often.
Yeah. So, I think if Domri Chaosbringer is something you're looking at, it is a more exciting Xenagos, but probably just a worse Xenagos, unfortunately. Dovin Grand Arbiter. We skipped the first episode. We just got Teferi. We can't ask for, we can't complain that much. Domri, Grand Arbiter, 1 blue-green.
Domri, Grand Arbiter.
Dovin, Grand Arbiter, 1 blue-green. Domri, Grand Arbiter, 1 white-blue.
Said Domri again.
Oh my god. Dovin, ban, the Grand Arbiter, 1 white-blue, 3 loyalty, +1. Until end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Dovin Grand Arbiter. -1. Create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. You gain a life. -7. Look at the top 10 cards of your library. Put 3 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This card's at least interesting. It's again, fits into the aggressive aggressive Azorius decks. You have to play
Azorius does have 3 different modes. You can go tempo, you can go blink, and you can go control.
This card just goes hard into the pretty tempo world. This card is probably something I have to play with at least once or twice to kind of get a real feel how it performs. It unfortunately is in one of the best guilds of all time in terms of card selection.
One of the best. The best.
And we just got Teferi Hero Dominaria. So we're pretty good on Azorius cards for 2 years. So Dovin, bit of a miss.
It feels like I'm gonna slam it and call it an Ashiok here. It's a card you might be able to just ignore while you go for the face because it doesn't really have.
It does cost
big
3.
board.
It was crazy that both him and the other Kaya were both spoiled same day. Both 3-mana planeswalkers.
Both kind of do.
Yeah, both a bunch of me. So. Yeah, Dovin's, again, I'm sure this card will probably play a little better than expected compared to the 4-mana Dovin from Kaladesh. It's one of my favorite arts in like a long time. I really like the original Dovin one. No, that's a Narset Transcendent. It's the target creature gets -3 till end of turn, draw a card, gain 2 life, and then static orb them. That card is, if that kind of consistency was in like a Gruul card or a Simic card, it'd be great. But it's not. It's in the best guild, so it's not even close to label. Just like Dovin Grand Arbiter. Electrodominance. This card got a lot of talk. X red instant. Electrodominance deals X damage to any target. You may cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost.
So Electrodominance was on my list for a while, but I just cut it yesterday because after thinking about it, it's probably not that great to begin with because you're not doing anything broken like in the other formats. And the foil is going to be kind of expensive because of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, talk about the card because, I guess, at face value, when the card's doing what it's intended to do, pay some amount of mana, leave something behind in, like, standard or even cube, it's very fair. But in modern specifically, when you can play your living ends or your ancestral visions or your restore balances off of it for free, then, there's a little more to talk about, especially because it's an instant, right? So, again, when you're casting this card as intended, that card's extremely fair. It's a kind of instant speed fireball. I get to deal a bunch of damage to something and leave something behind, so...
Build your own cryptic command.
You build your own cryptic command with
it.
But this card's kind of weird, because let's say in just Cube in general, if I'm playing it, you're not really going to play this in a mono-red deck, so this is obviously like a red X kind of card, so... You can play it like red-blue, but like what do you really leave behind? Like maybe a Linolendra, maybe an Augur Bolus, maybe something small. Or in most cases, I guess you're going to probably want to play it fairly early, leave behind a Signet or something. But I think most often you'll kind of just draw this card at some point and you'll burn it on an issue, which is fine. Or you'll kind of have it in your hand and you might just end up not casting it when you should to try to take advantage of its other part. So this card it's an interesting red card for sure. I'm not quite sure what it is going to fit into. It probably goes into the like wildfire decks, or I was going to say at first like maybe if it's into powered better, but like you're not sandbagging Moxes to like play off this thing. So I'm not quite sure where this card fits into. It is interesting. I think it will have to see play. I know at my cube size I'm all looking for too many more zany cards. This card will definitely not pull the trigger on it away and kind of get feedback from it, and maybe test it down the road.
Yeah, if I can get a cheap one, I might add it.
Sure, we'll play it if you get a cheap one. He's kind of cheap, but
I have Devil's Play. I have room.
So Electrodominance is again an interesting card, but a lot of the talk about when you play it not as intended, but in a fair game of Magic,
kind of medium minus.
Fireblade Artist. Another Rakdos card. We got red-black 2/2 Human Shaman. I would have guaranteed this card was a devil if I had to put money on it. Not a devil. Very Steve Argyle art. I brought up last episode that was it Seb McKinnon's Bedevil art and some of his art. While it's very good, it doesn't really fit into the set. And this is another very digital art, CGI, 3D-ish looking Steve Argyle art. Again, fantastic art, but looks all over the place. Anyway, red-black 2/2 Human Shaman Haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, Fireblade Artist deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker.
I went a little deep on the art.
I did. Probably more than the card deserves. So, this card is Rakdos Shred Freak, but slightly better stats. Activated ability. This card is fine on curve, and it lets you close out the game later on. All of a sudden you have some idiots that aren't very good. They help you close the game. This card is not exciting, but it fits into the Rakdos attack deck fine.
Hey, you put it on the list.
I did.
You can sell it.
That's it. That's my sell. It's a card that's good. It's just the 2-drops that are cards that are good on 2 and good on 10. Maybe not good on 10, but this card has other function beyond just it being a 2. So, again, Rakdos cards, you can play the slew of removal spells. The 74 Terminates you can play now in Rakdos. But Fireblade Artist. Interesting card nonetheless, with great art. You can curve into Gruul Spellbreaker.
Oh, this one. I'll talk about this guy.
Oh, 1 red-green, 3/3 Ogre Warrior. Riot, Trample. As long as it's your turn, you and Gruul Spellbreaker have hexproof. It's a great Drew card.
It is. It was one of our first spoilers, I think. It showcased Riot as a mechanic.
Yeah, I really liked how they did it. By the way, every day they did. Here's a guild. Here's a mechanic. Super cheesy video, but I like that.
Oh, I didn't watch the videos.
Yeah, it's super cheesy. It's like super, but you know what? I like it. Anyway.
So me, along with multiple other people in my specific group, are really excited for this small 3-drop 3/3 that might have haste. And I assume it has an ability of hexproof or something. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's efficient, it goes fast, it fits in the curve, and I think with this is what I'm looking for Gruul, randomly.
It's like a Gruul's Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, but when I said that, people got really angry because they're like, now I hate the card because it's Loxodon Smiter.
It's almost as exciting as Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, but I like Loxodon Smiter.
I also like Loxodon Smiter. That card played a pretty important role as a white 3-drop. White-green 3-drop.
Now we got like Knight of Autumn stuff.
Yeah, a little better. But for a while, white-green had this issue. Not really an issue anymore, but a lot of the best white creatures cost white. So Loxodon Smiter just filled the 3-drop slot really well. Like Gruul Spellbreaker will do.
Big fan. At least 3 people, including myself.
If you support the red-green attack deck, this card's great.
More like a monsters deck, but
monsters deck. I'm not a huge fan. I don't really. You know what? It's almost sad. I complain that we don't get the Gruul cards I want, but I'm not even sure what Gruul cards I want at this point.
This was out.
Yeah, Drew likes them boring. Boring and plain, just like his noodles. Anyway, Incubation, Incongruity.
Oh, I should let you say it because
I was gonna get there.
I prefer when you mispronounce them. Ooh.
I wish I could. You know what? I should have done this beforehand. I flipped the card. So, Incubation, a hybrid blue-green sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest of the library in a random order.
Well, it's a random order, as it said.
Yeah, weird. And then Incongruity, 1 blue-green instant, exile target creature, and that creature's controller creates a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token. So it's like a
Pongify.
Yeah, it's Pongify or a Beast Within.
There's a lizard card too. I forget what it's called. I run it in the battle box.
Yeah, it's like Beast Within. Not really Beast Within. It's only creatures. I guess Pongify, but for 3 mana. And then this is a card, isn't it?
Didn't we just get something nature like this? Or something? But I think that one gets in.
There's like another Adventurer's Impulse, maybe. It's whatever. It's a almost playable blue-green card.
This is Simic's last hurrah. I'm going to add this thing. If this thing doesn't, I'm just cutting it, and Simic doesn't get the slot back.
It has a very medium incubation, a very medium incongruity.
At least the cheap side cycles. Ideally.
Both abilities are fine. You have this Adventurer's Impulse effect. Hopefully that's the card I'm thinking of. And then this Pongify effect, again, it's removal in this blue-green deck that you don't really have. So both of these cards are passable. I wouldn't play them individually, but you tape them together. Maybe who knows? This card might be the most playable card in all of Guilds of Ravnica, or Ravnica Allegiance for Simic cards. What a world we live in. Kaya Orzhov Usurper.
Isn't it Domri Orzhov Usurper?
1 black-white, 3 loyalty. +1, exile top card, or exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life if at least one of those creatures was, if at least one of those, no, what the hell? If at least one creature card was exiled this way. So exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard, you gain 2 life if at least one card was a creature. -1, exile target non-land permanent with current mana cost 1 or less. And then -5, Kaya Orzhov Usurper deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards in that player's exile. You gain that much life.
There's a lot of this going on.
There's all that. I guess for a long time we got a lot of different variations of Sorn that all kind of did the same thing. Now we got Kaya, who I don't even know what. I think this card was a la Dak Faden, who was printed. Like the further you go back, the more interesting this card gets. Obviously, being able to eat like Chalice of the Voids or Moxes or something like that is interesting. The random graveyard hate is good in old formats. Its ultimate is whatever, but the biggest problem, the difference between Kaya and Dak Faden is you cannot pitch Kaya to Force Will. And its effects aren't as impactful as Dak Faden. But in terms of Orzhov is another like fairly rich guild in terms of playable cards, which is weird because it's an enemy guild.
It's got
it might be the only one.
Planeswalkers already.
So Kaya being this like really weird narrow card as it is, it's not anywhere near my breaking in the Orzhov cards.
Yeah, I think it's more of a small power cube card. So you can benefit from both the abilities.
This card's interesting. Like, I like the flavor of Kai a lot. I like that the Ghost Assassin from the Conspiracy set ended up getting tied into the actual Magic storyline to kill the
Opposite that.
Yeah, the Ghost Council, which is the art in Kaya's Wrath.
Oh, transition. You get Star Wipe? Is that in our budget?
Well, I can do it. I'm just not very good at it. Kaya's Wrath, white, black, sorcery. Destroy all creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you controlled that were destroyed this way. Do you want Orzhov Supreme Verdict?
This one's harder to cast.
This one is harder to cast. And Orzhov already gets the benefit of having Damnation. Where Azorius doesn't have that benefit.
And Wrath of God.
Yeah, well, in the blue-white decks, Supreme Verdict, but that's because you have Day Judgment, Wrath of God, and whatever other variations of White Wraths you want, there's a million. Blue doesn't have it, where in the Orzhov package, you have the benefit of having Toxic Deluge and Damnation. So, do you want to waste one of your precious gold cards for another Wrath? No, probably not.
Probably not.
So, in gold cards, traditionally you want effects you can't really get in either color, or that work really well in those colors. And while this card is good, again, we have Day Judgment, Wrath of God, Damnation, Toxic Deluge, just as the, hyper-playable ones. So, Kai's Wrath, while having a weird added benefit and great storyline artwork, sits in the sidelines. Ooh, Octopus. Mesmerizing Benthid.
You practiced that one.
We Google searched how to pronounce it, and only found
you go
Benthid.
search.
So, Benthid. 3 blue, 4/5 Octopus. When Mesmerizing Benthid enters the battlefield, create 2/0/2 illusion creature tokens with whenever this creature blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's tap step. Mesmerizing Benthid has hexproof as long as you control an illusion.
So, I assume, me, like everybody else on the planet who has a cube, also runs Muldrifter as a 5 blue drop.
Yeah.
I run an additional one. I forget its name. I looked it up before we started. Can't remember. It's a 5/3 hexproof, and you can get another copy of
the
it.
Sphinx that has a...
Yeah, that one.
Not Afterlife. Is it Afterlife?
Probably.
Anyway.
But the point is, that thing can't block.
No.
And
4/3.
this thing can. So this is on my short list of cards I'm still thinking about, and I might add.
Blue creature is really weird. It's it's obviously the only color where you can't be too picky about, making sure the curve's really nice, because blue creatures are, they're not created equally. So this card's very interesting. If you play any kind of token, or not token, sorry, support
Opposition.
kind of stuff, opposition-y kind of nonsense, this card seems to fit in really, really well. Drew and I are avid fans, opposite of fans. We don't like Moloku. And this card isn't as, let's say, upfront powerful as Moloku. Even though I understand how powerful Moloku is, I'm just not a fan of it. Mesmerizing Benthid, maybe a little different.
Comes with 2 free guys.
If you blink it, it's really zany. It's an octopus. I don't really know why I compared it to Moloku. I like the art a lot. Big Kev Walker mark, big fan.
Does this fit in the Ravnica art sphere?
It looks like there's a bunch of Narcomoebas flying around. Even though Narcomoeba flies around like a jellyfish, these are just regular jellyfish. So, yeah, again, this card's interesting. It's really weird. It's mythic. It's kind of was it Dream Eater from last set? I really wanted to like Dream Eater, but it was an X3, and that I'm out here. But another interesting blue mythic.
This one will be cheap to pick up. Hopefully.
It must be really weird designing blue mythics specifically that don't just aren't super busted, because kind of like red, I guess. Whenever you kind of look at flashy red cards, they're always really weird. This set has a lot of them. But if you're designing a mythic blue card, you can't just make it draw cards or counter spells or anything, because that's too bananas. So, all right, let's tack it on an octopus. Or what was the last one? I can't remember what Tree Meter was. That card's neat too. But weird value blue guys. I'm a fan. I don't know if I'm gonna play it.
Might give it a shot. Yeah,
I like this art a lot. Ooh, I guess this isn't really a value blue guy. Pteramander? Was that how?
That's how I corrected you to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce this card. I didn't know Pterodactyl.
I assume I'm right.
I didn't know Pterodactyl had a P. And if it doesn't, I'll look like a fool. I'll look like a pound in my face. Pteramander, 1 blue, 1/1 Salamander Drake, flying. 7 and a blue, adapt 4. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each instant or sorcery you card.
It's a Simic card.
It is a Simic card.
It's got the watermark.
It does have a watermark. This card is a flying man. that is going to be probably good and constructed in like the Phoenix-esque kind of decks. But in terms of just cube,
What do you think? 5 mana?
I think this card's cool and maybe common uncommon, where you have less like delve graveyard nonsense, where you just have spells kind of lying around. This card's probably because like I think it maybe just the Flying Drake alone isn't super great, but even if this card has like 1 mana to play and then 4 to activate, it's probably not terrible. But like, yeah, it's maybe it's just terrible. I have no idea. Good constructed card. I don't think it's gonna really work in cube.
Combo cube, got a lot of storm spells kicking around.
A lot of storm spells. You know, it doesn't interact well with Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, so.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Ravager Wurm. 3 green, red. 4/5 worm. Right. When Ravager Wurm enters the battlefield, choose up to 1. Ravager Wurm fights target creature you don't control, or destroy target land with an activated ability that isn't a mana ability. Originally, I really didn't like this card. I've come around to it a lot.
Did you try it?
No, it's not even like hello.
Well, you could proxy it for
I
something.
could, but we're keeping on
You
Monday.
can put it in the work, right?
I really didn't. So I think this is kind of what I'd rather get out of green red at this point. So you kind of want the Gruul Spellbreaker. I want more Atarkas.
Well, I got a backup, so if Spellbreaker doesn't work out, I got this Ravager Wurm.
So this card is just like, I guess when I read this card, I'm just like, it's a lot better than Tarka. But it fills a Gruul role. The Gruul's turning into these like wildfiery ramp decks. As my playgroup hates playing like the red-green aggressive deck. So it's turned into the more monster wildfire decks. And Ravager Wurm fits into that. It is an Inferno Titan. It is a Primeval Titan. It's fine. Again, fits into these the Gruul, which doesn't have the deepest color or the deepest amount of cards. Both abilities are passable. The fighting parts, they can be a 5/6 haste.
Destroy some manlands or Maze of It.
Oh, sorry, no, 4/5 haste or just a 5/6 that comes into play, eats a guy, kills a land, like it destroys Maze of It, the Volar Stronghold, Slane Academy. Well, not Slane Academy. Search for Scanta, you know. So I guess Ravager Wurm is the kind of Gruul card I want. You know, some people want Ravager Wurm, some people want
Loxodon Spiders.
Loxodon Spiders. You know, so I'll be playing it on release for sure. I look forward to it. I'm not looking forward to Skarrgan Hellkite. 3 red, 4/4 dragon, riot, flying. 3 in a red. Skarrgan Hellkite deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Activate this ability only if Skarrgan Hellkite has a +1/+1 counter on it. This joins the list of Thundermaw Hellkites 1 through 4 or 5. So at the top of the list, traditionally we have Thundermaw Hellkites, and then kind of pick your flavor of Hasty Dragon. What's a Glorybringer, Stormbreath Dragon. I think I'm forgetting another one, and then this guy. But I guess Thundermaw is like unanimously the most popular one, which makes sense. I think I like Glorybringer more.
It's got some impact.
Just because it
and
has to play to it.
It's interesting.
Thundermaw Hellkite just annihilates, just like flies them, which is great. That card is good. But I think they both are very good. I really don't like Stormbreath Dragon that much. I know
the random
protection a lot of the mono
cubes kind of like off-putting.
Yeah. But then the Skarrgan Hellkite. So a 5 mana 4/4 haste flying with no other abilities. Or a 5 mana 5/5 that gets to pay 4 mana to shock something. Which is
Divided, which is neat.
You get the 4 bolts and things for 4 mana.
Probably
neither side of that
aggro.
Neither side of that is very good. Right? It's you get to trade off the hasty dragon part of it in exchange for a much slower control-y kind of dragon. I like the immediate benefit of Glorybringer, who why not both, or Stormbreath Dragon that has the option of, again, the flying hasty dragon has random protection and just gets bigger and sudden impacts your opponent. So maybe I'm just trying to find reasons why I hate this card's artwork. I hate it so much, but I just think this is just the worst of the Thundermaw Hellkites.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That brings us to Spawn of Mayhem. 2 black 4/4 demon. Spectacle 1 black. Flying trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, Spawn of Mayhem deals 1 damage to each player. Then if you have 10 or less life, put a +1/+1 counter on Spawn of Mayhem.
It's got a lot of text for it's a mythic.
It is mythic. There's a lot of mythics in this little run here. I'm in for Wizards keep putting these demons with no downsides. Like the Doom Whisperer, Spawn of Mayhem.
It can kill you.
Almost no downside. Versus like the Desecration Demon, the new one that came out that I tried.
Abyssal Persecutor.
Like all those kind of things. Like, just make it. This card is just a fine static creature. You can play it on curve. You can play it cheaper on curve. It has this random ping ability that can just make it bigger.
It's pretty
Why not?
hard-hitting, tight-fitting package.
Yeah, I think if this card just doesn't have a spectacle, it doesn't have to be mythic. But I'm fine with having spectacle. I like the fact that it has this random Rakdos ability, so I can feel like I'm adding Rakdos cards in my cube. Its face also has like the Rakdos shape, which is kind of neat. This card, yeah, this card's great. You should probably play this card. Black's getting a lot of creature alley-oops lately. We complained about it all of 2017 and most of 2018, so.
It might still continue.
Maybe, but they've got a lot of help. So.
Correct direction.
Yeah, no, it's
Unlike Simic.
Unlike Simic. Simic is bad forever at this point. You know, it's been three trips to Ravnica and still no help. But maybe in War of the Sparks or whatever the next set is, we'll get something. Because then, like, it's just everything. You know, all no holds bars. Maybe there's a Simic Nicol Bolas card. Maybe it's great. Who knows? So, Ravnica Allegiance. I think overall, it's weird to say I'm more excited about the. Maybe I'm not more excited. I just want to say I'm more excited about the monocolor cards because I want to be an edgy boy, but I don't think that's actually true. We didn't get as many.
We got. I think Gruul's fine now. It used to be one of the weaker four.
It's still one of the weaker. It was the weakest.
But I think I'm happy with it now.
Weakest allied color guild. Yeah. Yeah, again, I like Ravager Wurm. It's fine, depending on how deep you go on gold cards. But I'm happy with it. Simic, unfortunately, missed the cut. We got a handful of monocolor cards that are good too.
Yeah, I think I got 3 editions to black alone. So with Gutter Bones, your pick. For
Rakdos
the
is
best
all
name.
the best names. All their cards are best names. It doesn't have, Gutter Bones doesn't even have a Rakdos watermark, which is a shame. But all their cards have the best names, best designs. So
Light the Stage. That probably has a Rakdos watermark.
It does.
Spectacle.
Okay. It's Spectacle. So does this Spawn Mayhem. There's Rakdos face looking things. So the set ends up being okay. The back half of the set had less than expected. I know we talked about more cards today, but there were a lot of these cards that were spoiled beforehand that we just didn't talk about.
There's no real slam dunks for powerful cubes. Like if you're
not at face value.
360. There's not really much that's edgy.
There's like this Spawn of Mayhem you'll probably just play because black creatures need the help. There's maybe a Gruul, maybe like a gold card here or there, but there's no like Knight of Autumn or Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger cubes get more toys and more options.
I'm sure I'm blanking on something, but Guilds was a little more oomph. In colors I didn't really need it, but that's the way she goes. But anyway, I know I'm excited enough. I went into Guilds assuming it was gonna be bad just because I have no faith in Gruul or Simic cards. Got a little more than I expected. That's great. So again, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Mana Base, your home base for all things Magic together. They let us pay me to tell you all the art issues I have in sets, which is great.
I'm a big art critic.
I like to imagine I'm a big art
critic. I cannot paint or draw anything.
I'm terrible at drawing stuff. I like stitch together newsletters and stuff, though. That's my job. But yeah, they let us bring this content to you at I don't even want to say regular time frame, but an okay time frame. Maybe we'll move studios soon. Maybe soon is super soon. Not soon at all.
It's the Aaron soon.
Aaron soon. I'm really busy. Got a lot of stuff doing. I'm going to a GP again in like 2 weeks. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Which GP?
Toronto.
Come say hi. I have it on good authority. There were people at GP Vancouver that did not come say hi to you.
No. But I always get a handful of people at Toronto. You know who you are. That's okay. Anyway, that's it. That's it for Ravnica Allegiance. Civic sucks.